There are many theories in A Song of Ice and Fire, but few are as strange, as bold, or as surprisingly convincing as the claim that Daario Naharis is actually Euron Greyjoy in disguise. At first glance, it sounds absurd. One is a flamboyant mercenary captain in Essos. The other is a nightmare pirate-sorcerer in the Western Seas. Different names, different backgrounds, different worlds. And yet, once you start comparing their actions, their symbolism, their methods, and the strange coincidences of magic and timing, the theory becomes harder to dismiss. Today, we take a calm, grounded look at every angle of this idea, not to prove it true, but to understand why so many readers found it compelling. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here we delve deep into the rich lore of The Lord of the Rings, A Song of Ice and Fire, and the vast worlds beyond. On this channel, we blend the soothing power of cutting-edge technology with the timeless knowledge of dedicated storytellers. That's us, the voices behind the Codex. Settle in, relax, and enjoy. At its core, the theory suggests that Euron Greyjoy travelled into Essos long before Victarion ever sailed east, and infiltrated Daenerys' circle by adopting a new identity, Daario Naharis. The theory relies heavily on three pillars. First, that Euron is a skilled manipulator with knowledge of illusion, glamours, or other magical disguises. Second, that he has a strong motive, gaining access to Daenerys' dragons. And third, that Daario's sudden appearance, personality, and unexplained background make him suspiciously convenient. None of these points prove anything on their own, but when combined with magical symbolism, prophetic visions, ship numbers, and dream imagery, the possibility becomes far more interesting. Daenerys is repeatedly drawn to dangerous, unpredictable men, Drogo, Daario, and, according to Quaithe, someone she must eventually dread. Daario and Euron share an unusually similar personality structure. Both are flamboyant. Both are charming in a violent, theatrical way. Both crave chaos, blood, and dominance. Both radiate a mixture of seduction and threat. And Daenerys responds strongly to this type. In the books, she describes Daario as exciting, intoxicating, even addictive. Writers point out that this same intensity defines Euron to his victims and to those he manipulates. This parallel does not prove identity, but it establishes why the disguise would work narratively. Dany is vulnerable to men like this. In A Dance with Dragons, Daenerys dreams of Hizdahr kissing her, but his lips are blue and bruised. When he enters her, his manhood is cold as ice. This is not a sexual dream, it is a warning dream. Only two types of characters in the series have blue lips, warlocks of Euron Greyjoy. After drinking shade of the evening, Xaro Daxos even warns Dany to beware of men with cold hearts and blue lips. Many readers interpret the dream as a symbolic intrusion, either by a hostile magical force or by her subconscious identifying danger. If Euron has acquired warlock knowledge, as later evidence suggests, dream intrusion becomes entirely possible. Daenerys is told she will have three men, one to love, one to bed, one to dread. Dread powers is the same phrase used to describe the warlocks of Korth. Warlocks drink shade of the evening, Euron too drinks shade of the evening. Thematically, this sets up Euron as the one to dread, the dark counterpart to her earlier lovers. If Daario is Euron in disguise, the prophecy fuses into a single narrative thread. Dany is already sleeping beside the man she's meant to dread later. A critical detail from the world of Ice and Fire expands the theory. Pyat-Pree leaves Korth with several warlocks to hunt Daenerys and seek revenge for the destruction of the House of the Undying. Soon after, Euron captures 4 warlocks on a galeas from Korth. The implication is strong. Euron captured that exact group. This opens several possibilities. Pyat-Pree may have taught Euron warlock magic. Euron learned dream manipulation, disguises, or glamours. The warlocks sought revenge, and Euron became their weapon. Euron, who was already exploring the occult, absorbed their secrets. This is not random coincidence. The texts connect Euron to the warlocks far too directly. Throughout the series, magic is returning to the world. Glass candles burn again. Ghostgrass spreads. Phantom tortoises carry messages. Rats chew off their own tails. All of these occur in regions associated with blood magic and warlocks. Euron's ship, the Silence, is infamous. Black sails, a dark red hull, a deck painted red to hide the blood. Some readers believe Euron uses blood rituals to enhance the speed of his ship, explaining his ability to appear suddenly across the world. Combine this with his experiments on priests, warlocks, and holy men, and Euron becomes not just a pirate, but a budding sorcerer. This supports the idea that he could assume another identity, or reach Daenerys through dreams. One of the strongest pieces of evidence is Numerical. In the TV show, Daario captures 93 ships during the Siege of Meereen. In the books, Euron sets sail from the Shields with 93 ships. Not 100, not 90, 93. This may be a coincidence, or it may be an adaptation hint. Why would Daario, a land sellsword, suddenly begin acting like an Ironborn Reaver? Why does he take ships without orders? Why is this number identical to the book's Iron Fleet remnant? Taken together, this becomes one of the theory's most eyebrow-raising details. Victarion is sent east by Euron with the Dragonbinder horn, but the horn does not bind dragons to the man who blows it. It binds dragons to the will of the horn's owner. That owner is Euron. This means Victarion is being used as a pawn. Euron intends to take Daenerys' dragons regardless of whether he arrives in person. If Daario is Euron in disguise, he's already positioned exactly where he wants to be. If Daario is not Euron, Euron still has a flawless plan. Let Victarion risk death blowing the horn, then claim the dragons afterward. Either path works for him. Moqorro gives one of the most famous prophetic lines in the series, a tall and twisted thing with one black eye and 10 long arms, sailing on a sea of blood. One black eye, crow's eye, 10 long arms. Kraken imagery, the sigil of House Greyjoy's Sea of Blood, the Silence's infamous deck. This is unquestionably a vision of Euron. It reinforces the image of a being who transcends normal identity, someone touched by dark magic, capable of assuming many masks. If any character in the series could reinvent himself as a sellsword captain, it is Euron. The strengths are impressive. Personality parallels, dream intrusion, warlock connection, magical disguises, ship number match, prophecy alignment, Euron's motives, sudden appearance of Daario. But the weaknesses must also be considered. Geographic separation in the timeline, physical appearance differences, lack of direct textual confirmation, Martin's tendency to mislead but not outright trick the reader. Most scholars conclude that the theory is unlikely to be literally true, but symbolically powerful and thematically consistent with Martin's fascination with masks, false identities, and dangerous men entering Dany's life. So, is Daario Naharis truly Euron Greyjoy in disguise? Probably not literally, but the theory reveals something far more important about the story. Daenerys is surrounded by men who love her, betray her, and try to claim her destiny as their own. And none are more dangerous than Euron, whether he approaches her openly or behind another face. The theory works not because it must be true, but because it exposes the deepest patterns of the story: seduction, manipulation, prophecy, and the return of terrible magic. And in A Song of Ice and Fire, nothing is ever what it first appears to be. If you're interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.